Global happenings today. We communicate. We analyze global news.
Hello, beautiful people. Welcome back to our channel. Uzor Kalu, one of the senators in the 10th Assembly, have decided to speak concerning a lot of drama that is going on over the issue of regionalization, the issue of referendum, and change of constitution. Apparently, there's a lot of issues going on, and he has said to address it. I'm going to read through what he said, but before we do that, kindly subscribe to our channel. Now, according to the sitting senator, he said, "We have talked about this many times over the years, the political framework of the country, and that discourse seemed to have reared up its head again. During the open sun nationwide protest that further rocked our economy that was struggling to get out of the woods. That protest asked of all of us, indeed, which political practice do we have on ground that is capable of attending to the multiplicity and the complexity of a great country as the country we are positioned to lead and lead aright." Now, over the years, it has become the same story that whenever there is any form of lopsidedness in any area of the country, the part of the country that gets heavily pommeled is always the federal tier of governance, which continue to raise the question if we are political or if we are practicing a federal system of government or something in between. We are yet to address conclusively to deal with the kind of reactions we got from the recent nationwide protest. Now, since our political position and direction have not been clearly defined, issues such as the ones raised during the protest would continue to stare at us in the face, where the other tiers of government seemingly denying their duties and responsibilities to the citizens of their respective states, instead continuously pointing their fingers to the federal arm of government to do the needful when the needful rears its face. I still maintain that the time has come for this administration to revisit that discourse we had years ago about regionalism, because I think and strongly believe it is the only part we have to work to clear the avalanche of questions we have in our chests, to resolving the cold, warm, and sometimes hot reactions we get when any part of the country is heated up. I have been advocating this, and I shall continue to echo it. That time we open the book of regionalization and begin to study it until we realize all its benefits, despite the fact that in all ideas there are challenges. Where power is divided between a central authority and regional entities such as provinces, states, or territories backed by a strong constitution, I believe we are halfway in addressing whether the political or economic pitfalls in the country's advancement. With the recent process and all the questions that were asked with regionalism, the journey towards the promotion of decentralization in the decision-making authority is distributed among regional entities, allowing for more localized governance are dealt with. Besides, there is the fostering of regional autonomy, where regions have a degree of self-governance, enabling them to address unique local needs and concerns, thereby encouraging regional development by empowering regions, aiming to stimulate economic growth, social progress, and cultural preservation. All this come down to improving representation, leading to regional government providing a closer connection between citizens and their representatives, ensuring more effective representation and relieving the pressure being placed on the federal government. What are the key characteristics of this practice? According to Senator Uzor Kalu, he said, first, division of powers, clear separation of responsibilities between central and regional government. Secondly, regional autonomy. Regions have control over specific areas such as education, healthcare, or even infrastructure. Thirdly, representation, as regional governments have elected representatives, ensuring accountability and citizen participation. And fourthly, funding. Regions often receive funding from the central government or have taxation powers to support local initiatives. He now went further to say, and regionalism can be broken into aspects of federalism, which is the United States, Germany, Brazil, or Confederation, which is Swaziland, Canada, or even devolution, which is United Kingdom, Spain, or even regionalization, e.g., which is France and Italy. All these countries that are practicing these different forms of regional system of government may have their issues which they continue to attend to, helped by their developmental and progressive framework over time. Nigeria can borrow a leaf from these countries and allow it to breathe, especially in its political settings. That talks a lot. He said, though it may be a complex practice, especially from the point of view that we have not had a clear cut definition of the political direction we want to go. It is a practice that could be in its infancy. Nevertheless, once that decision is made, we will begin to see key aspects as this. One, the central government, the national government responsible for matters that affect the entire country, such as foreign policy, defense, and national infrastructure. Then we have the regional government, that's autonomy, autonomous entities with varying levels of power, responsible for governing specific regions, provinces, or states. Then we have the division of powers, a clear separation of responsibility between the central and the regional government, ensuring that each level of government has distinct areas of authority. Then we have the regional autonomy. Regions have control over specific areas such as education, healthcare, or infrastructure, allowing them to address local needs and concerns. And they mentioned number 5, representation. Regional governments have elected representatives, ensuring accountability and citizen participation in decision-making process. Let's stop there. The one we are practicing, you did mention that some other countries practice this thing, and it is functional. They have their little issues, but they're tackling it. But what we are practicing, the politicians have turned the thing upside down to suit them. What is the possibility that even when we go to this regional practice that you are mentioning, there are some countries that have 3 arms of governance: the judiciary, the legislative, and the executive, and each of them serve as checkmate to one another. Other countries practice this, and it works so fine. They brought it to Nigeria. The equation changed. We will have one verdict in the morning, by evening another counter verdict have come out. In the same arm, you can take one federal high court verdict from Uyo, another one come from Oku. Before you see Jack Robinson, another one is coming from Kaduna. All on the same matter. All of them within 5 hours interval. Sometimes 48 hours. Sometimes it's even as bad as 2 hours interval. You begin to hear counter. After a while, the police are even, the security personnel are even confused. They don't know which one is the latest. So it's not that we have some fine things, but the problem is effecting it. This one that clamoring for, before they effect it, all these our very corrupt politicians, with due respect to all of them, they will just position themselves. They will go back to their region and wait for when the thing will materialize. They will now queue. I'm the first. Then they will now hold it like Adolf Hitler. They will not release it until the people there will not start screaming. It's not that we don't have fine policies. The problem we have is some very greedy and corrupt politicians who have refused to relinquish power, and the people are suffering over it. Other countries function, but when it comes to Nigeria, they change the equation totally. You begin to wonder how are others doing this thing, but it's working in other countries because our politicians have made up their mind that they will not relinquish power, and whatever it takes for them to keep that power in place, they will keep it, even if it means distorting the constitution or distorting the government to suit them just fine. So it's not about bringing new policies. So the one we have, how well have you fared? But then again, it's my personal opinion. What's your take? Let's interact in the comment section.
Global happenings today. We communicate.